answering your questions. Let's check it out. What inspired me to dive into Lucifer? First of all, I was raised in a Christian and Catholic home. So religion was a very important thing that played a huge role in my mind and upbringing as a young person. And I was heavily tormented by the idea of demons and the devil and all this kind of stuff and the end of the world and the book of Revelations. It paralyzed me as a young kid. So there came a point in my life where I had to face this thing head on and figure it out. And when I did, I realized that, number one, it wasn't as scary as I thought it was, but that a lot of this stuff was misunderstood and wasn't even in the Bible. And that's what got me excited to share this with the rest of the world and write my book and make the documentary. How do we reconcile Catholicism with mysticism? Well, first of all, my two favorite Catholics, who happen to also be two of my favorite mystics, would be Eliphas Levi, the guy who drew the Baphomet. He is like the basis and the starting point for modern occultism. There would be no modern occultism without him. And he was a very simple French Catholic, but he was a mystic, and he got thrown in jail because of his mysticism. But if you read his works, he loved God and loved women. And also was, one of my favorites was Pierre Teilhard. He's the one who famously said we are spiritual beings having a human experience. A major mystic, but he was also a Catholic Jesuit. So, I think we can be both things. I think really what we should be focusing on is our connection with God and not the titles that we hold in religion. The Kali Yuga is supposed to be over March 21st. I hope so, okay? There has been enough lessons learned, okay? I've had enough of know thyself. I'm pretty sure we know ourselves. I don't need to continue knowing thyself, all right? I've learned enough lessons to move on. But that's what this is all about, is learning the lessons, right? We're here for soul contracts for whatever reason, but it's a school and we need to learn these lessons. But anyway, it's all a cycle. So just because we're leaving the Kali Yuga and entering the age of prosperity and peace doesn't mean we're going to forget our ways again and come back. So it's a micro and a macro, okay? You need to overcome the micro Kali Yuga so that we can all overcome the macro Kali Yuga. So stop it, okay? Two things I'd ask myself before leaving this life. Number one, is my family going to be okay? Will the absence of my existence completely destroy them, not just emotionally, but financially and all that? Or will they be stable enough to take care of themselves at least? Or maybe will I have some money in abundance stashed away so that when I'm gone, they can reap all of those benefits? Number one. Now, number two, did I get right with God? Did I live my life in a way where I'm leaving prepared and ready to meet my maker? Truthfully, honestly, that is my main goal in this life. No matter what happens, I will always have it in the back of my mind to get right with God, because there's only one way out and there's only one way, there's only one way in and there's only one way out, through God, through the Creator. So did I get right? How old was I when I realized I was different? Man, I was a baby. All my life, I've been an outsider, a rebel, whatever. I realized I had a gift in the way that I thought, and I don't mean to sound pompous, but I realized that I had a gift in the way that I think when I was really, really young, and had this ability and passion to come up with fictional stories and tell them to my siblings and my cousins, and they would sit there and listen to them. I used to come up with these scary stories and people would listen. But also I knew that I was different when my first grade teacher kicked me out of class because I was talking, and she sent me to the garden in the back, and I would go out there and tend to the plants and the flowers and just look at the sky. And I knew that there was something about me that would captivate the people, but would also get me in trouble. My thoughts on the Illuminati now have drastically changed from when I first learned about them back when I was like 12 years old or whatever. I actually have a huge respect for the original Illuminati and the founder of the Illuminati, Adam Weishaupt. And his book, Diogenes' Lamp, is actually one of my top favorite books of all time. It completely changed my life after reading it. My thoughts now are, number one, the Illuminati does not exist. Okay, people use its symbolism and philosophy these days because they think it's cool, but it doesn't exist. The real Illuminati died when Adam Weishaupt was exiled from Bavaria, Germany. But he wrote a lot of books before he died, a lot of books. And I think those books are amazing. And he was, I would say, a prolific writer on philosophy and human morality. Artists who have been used by the power of God. Man, I think there are a lot out there that have been used by a higher force, me included. And I think most of us actually are used on a daily basis and we're not even aware of it. But one of my favorite artists would be Jimi Hendrix. And I always refer to him as like a UFO that just crashed on Earth. I mean, before him, there was nothing like him. And I would say even after him, there's nothing like him in context. But apart from that, I think a lot of art, I think most art, if not, is all of it is channeled, whether we know it or not. You know, I've had strange times where I've dreamt of music, woke up and played it. I've had strange times where I had visions and downloads of my books and then wrote them and stuff like that. So I think creation comes from the creator and you just got to tune in. And some of us don't even realize that we're doing that. How am I doing sobriety? It's a miracle. I don't know, man. I give it all up to God. In the name of Jesus Christ, Yeshua. Truthfully, I'm 6 months sober now. And really, man, the key is staying busy and productive. Staying busy and productive and having modalities that help you in the moments where you're faltering, whether that's music, whether that's podcast, whether that's going for a walk. Whatever it is, you gotta have things that you fall back on. But I'll tell you right now, I'm shocked. I don't know, man. You know, it's a miracle, really. You got to understand that this is one of the toughest things that you can do, but you can do it. You just have to realize that you got to have a lot of faith and a lot of organized time where you focus every single second on something productive. Do I practice a spiritual religion? No, I do not practice a spiritual religion. I've learned about many religions. I grew up in a religious household. I've learned many spiritual techniques, but no, I don't practice a spiritual religion. I like to joke around and say that I'm a bitter existentialist, but there is some truth to that. But I'll tell you that I do believe in God, the creator. And for me personally, the number one thing that I think that I can do to be a spiritual person and vibrate on that high level is to be grateful, truthfully grateful. Like, you know, like when you almost get hit by a car, but you don't, and you're like, fuck, man, thank God I didn't just fucking die. Like that level of gratefulness. And it's a hard thing to achieve. And that's why I strive for that, because to be truly grateful means you are vibrating high, and it's a hard. Who runs the world? I love this question. I've answered it before. If you were to ask me when I was younger, I would have said reptilians run the world. Illuminati runs the world. But as I've gotten older and had the chance to see different parts of the world, I've met rich people, famous people, poor people, weird people, all kinds of people. You know, I've been privileged to step into many homes. And I'll tell you right now, in simple, who runs the world. You ready? Humans run the world. And that's all you need to know as to why this place is so messed up. It is people that run the world, whether they are secret society people or whatever. It's people, and people suck. Okay, I can tell you as a blue collar man out there dealing with the infrastructure, man, it's a miracle we're still here, because we don't know what we're doing half the time out there. Okay, people run the world and people are crazy. So let's get it together. What is the craziest thing hidden in plain sight? I think the fact that we were created. It's pretty nuts. I mean, I was just thinking about this the other day. It's funny how, atheists or nihilists will say that nothing has a purpose, everything's random and chaotic. That couldn't be farther from the truth. Everything has a purpose. At a primal level, the male sex organ's purpose is to, implant a seed in the woman's womb, which is perfectly designed to hold a baby and deliver it all by itself. Everything has a purpose. Everything in nature has a purpose. And it was specifically designed for its purpose. So I think the craziest thing hidden in plain sight is that we were created. And that leads us to ask, by who? And ultimately, for what?